Hello and welcome to Kitterick Farms. We're back with another episode of Edgewater, Saskatchewan today, and we're going to be jumping out into the field to do a little bit of field boundary cleanup. We've been running into, I wouldn't say problems, but just a little bit of frustration trying to leverage course play and things like that in these fields. They're rather large, but also very curvy. And so I thought, we're finally done with harvest here. We don't have a lot else going on the farm. This is going to be a perfect time for us to hop out in the field and maybe try to change some of the boundaries up a little bit so that we can farm a little bit easier here. Now, I say we're doing this because of course play, which is part of it, but quite honestly, in real life when I was farming, we did a lot of this kind of work as well, trying to reclaim parts of a field that were overgrown, had some trees or brush or something in it, and we just generally wanted to keep our farms nice and cleaned up and set up in a way to be able to easily farm on them. So I've got the Delta track all set up here with our big Landau VT, which we're going to use to break up some of the grass. And we're going to start coming out to a few of these areas and get the chainsaw out, cut up some of the shrubbery here, and then smooth out a few of these curves. I'm not going to completely get rid of them, but I think we could probably reclaim a part of this field, and it's going to make it so much easier to farm through here. So with that said, let's get the handy chainsaw out. These trees are so small, they're not really going to be worth trying to haul up anywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut them down the old-fashioned way. Oh my goodness, we don't have lumberjack mod on. I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got the lumberjack mod on, and I thought when you cut it up and down like this, it would turn red, and I could just delete the tree. But that doesn't seem to be working. I do get a cut symbol when I go this way, but I really don't want to have all of these miscellaneous bits and pieces everywhere. I'm inevitably going to miss some, and we're going to really lag this map out here. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out how this is supposed to work. I wonder if I can use the Easy Dev Tools mod to do this. There's a mode in here somewhere. Delete objects input. I think I can turn this on and then look at this tree and hit delete. There we go. All right, well, imagine if you would, we're grabbing a chainsaw to cut some of this brush down. We're gonna get rid of a few of these trees. Like I said, I don't want to get rid of everything. I think things look pretty nice over here, but the creek runs right through here. And so if I were to smooth this out, I think we're going to grab this one, and we're going to grab this one. And now that would give me a nice smooth curve here. A little bit more. And maybe one more here. Let's jump into the tractor now and see what that's going to do for us. I'm liking this already. It's going to let me get around this curve. I'm just looking here, probably this one too. So we'll get this all unfolded. I'm going to need to turn on create fields, I believe. And I'm going to just swing around here. We're going to start kind of coming around like I would on this side. And if we pull right through this, oh, it's not creating fields. So it turns out I'm just not very observant today. I do have allow create fields on. I just remapped the key because I was having some keybind problems. So now it is Alt Y, and we're going to go ahead and give this another shot. See if we can get this to work. We'll take a pass over here, and then I'll circle back around and get a little bit closer to where we want to be. Looks like all is well with the world now. And the trick here is going to be to not really expand it too close. I don't want to be getting into the trees that we're leaving behind. I'm not really trying to reclaim a huge part of the field. This isn't about getting more farmland. It's about having an easier worker experience. We just don't want to be running into so much stuff all the time. And so getting too close to the trees would honestly defeat that purpose. I'm gonna take this curve. I'm gonna lift up. I think I got a little bit too far in there. So I'd rather stop where I'm at there and smooth that out. I can actually smooth some of that out with the landscaping tool probably. Bring that curve back out from underneath the tree. I think that's what we're gonna end up doing. I'm gonna just take this back around, make sure we get all these little bits here. Oops, we're not used to this big articulated drive yet. We're still getting used to things. I need to make sure we don't miss any little parts on the fieldscape there, though. I think we've got it all. Looking good. A little splotchy, but that's to be expected with all those bushes and things in there. And just looking at that, it's going to be so much more natural of a curve, and I don't feel like I've really destroyed the beautiful landscape here too much. It still has a nice natural curve to it, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to just take a smidge more off on this side, something like that. Looks good. And let's go in here to construction, landscaping, painting. And I'm not sure if I've got the exact brush for this. Maybe this one. What's my thing to change cursor shape? There we go. I always like the rounded cursor when I'm doing stuff like this. That looks pretty good. That's not quite the right paint though. There we are. And I'm just gonna kind of back this away from those bushes ever so slightly. I think that's gonna look a bit better. We've been kind of pushing real hard into the edge of the creek here, so you can see we're not even harvesting that half of the time, so I might as well just smooth it out. That looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna come back and we're just gonna put a little bit of grass here along the edge. Especially now that grass is no longer getting picked up by the swather. I don't feel like we have to really purge it. I like how it looks when you've got the grass coming up along the edges of the field. Looks very natural. Good deal. And I think we've pretty much cleaned this up now. Let's move on to the next spot. We've got quite a few of them over on the other half of this field that we're gonna need to address. So at some point here, I think we're gonna actually put a grass barrier between these two fields, like right here in the middle, just because it seems to cause us a lot of grief having these be two separate fields, or having them be one field. I think that we'd get better courses on two separate fields. And we do have the creek running through here. So I think what I'm going to do is jump up into the tractor to get a little bit better of a view. And I'm going to go into landscaping mode, painting, and I'm going to paint right down the middle here. If I can figure out where the creek bed is, somewhere in here. And we're just gonna widen this out to be one grass area like so. And honestly, I'm not worried about the acres. I think we're gonna just take this whole little section here. And that should let course play handle curving around all this a lot better. Fill this all in, and then let's round out our corners a little bit. That looks pretty good. Do the same thing in here. And much like that other side, you know, these crops just kind of hanging way off the field. You know, we're just a little close to that creek edge. So I'm going to just clean it up a smidge right on this area at least. Give us a little bit of a buffer. And I'll just come right back through with some grass. We're going to run out of money here soon. I kind of didn't think about the fact that this was going to cost us money to do. I used to run a mod that made landscaping costs free, but alas, it is what it is. Oh, we are running out of money and it's just letting us do it anyway. Okay. Well, I guess I feel less guilty. We paid some of the amount now. We'll just take the rest as a free bonus here for us. And I'm just gonna handle the edges here, and then I'll upgrade my brush size a bit, and we'll finish putting the grass in the rest of this, like so. And similarly, I guess we should round these corners out as well. Let's paint the ground first, though. Apparently we're not doing that. Oh, we're out of money. Okay, it won't let me paint the ground, so we will have to take out a bit of a loan to finish all this work up. I'm just gonna grab some money while we've got it here, and yeah, that's fair. We're making some improvements to the farm here. I'm okay with paying some money to do this. Now, I'm probably gonna cut some of that out, so I don't want to spend a lot of money smoothing when I think I'm gonna take this to be a little bit straighter there. So I think this is actually good for what we're trying to do. And let's just fill the grass back in here. I love how grass doesn't cost me anything after I run out of money, but if I'm doing it now, it's gonna eat through my money. All right, that's so much better. That'll give us a division between the fields. And let's go ahead and take out just a couple of these trees. I want that one, and I think I'm just gonna kind of come along this edge here and grab a couple of them, like so. These are real close. I think I'm gonna leave those. Let's see what that does for us. All right, let's see if I can line this up without too much struggle. I'm gonna, I'd like to be going kind of straight down that line before I start ripping it up. Let's take a big swing around here and make sure we do this right. When you've got allow create fields on, it makes me a little bit nervous. I do like having this nice, gentler slope here, though. And we're gonna come straight in like, whoa, no, we're messing it up. Straight in like so. Smooth this right out and take it all the way around here and right back around this way. There we go. That looks pretty good. That's a much more gradual turn for us. I think that's going to work out. Now, let's follow this along. This big section over here is where we're going to spend, I think, a bit more energy. So I'm going to shut this down. Let's take a walk around in here by the creek. So the creek part is actually way in here and ends right around this spot. So I think what we're going to do is grab these sections, and this should let me come kind of straight in here, like so. So all of these are going to go, and we're going to want to circle around. I think the one right by the creek can stay. And get rid of the stragglers. Was this the one by the creek? No. All right, that's a huge area, and it's all curvy and causing all kinds of issues. So now I'll be able to circle right in on that. Just looking, that's the creek. Maybe I'm gonna take this one too, and that'll let me come kind of straight in there. We'll leave these ones around the creek, give the wildlife a little bit of a shelter there, and I'm gonna circle back around in on this curve and see if we can just follow that along in a natural way. If we just slap this thing down, and I think I'm far enough away from those trees for comfort. Just keep curving. Oh, this is gonna make this field run so much smoother. Just keep curving. And let's smooth it right out to here. I've got a little bit of extra space right here. I don't need to get too close, but I think that's gonna be the best bet. And let's just circle back around and get the rest of it cleaned up now. Oh, I'm liking this a lot. I feel like I should have, whoops, we're all over the place. I feel like maybe I should take just a smidge more off of the point there where that bush is. Although I guess I just did it with the implement, and it was a pretty natural curve. I don't want to make it too sharp. Things to think about. And I've got kind of a point right here, so let's see if I can line up on the edge here and smooth that curve out just a smidge. There we go, that's looking a little better. Alright, I'm gonna grab this bit and we'll think about whether or not I need to take some more off of the edge of that curve. I think I do. I think I'm gonna take just a smidgen more off of that and flatten it out on our next pass. And I missed just the smallest bit right here, so let's whip around like this, take that small bit off, and then I'm gonna make a mess of this. Hang on, don't do it like that. You'll have a crazy field. This would probably be easier with a smaller implement and a smaller tractor, but we use what we've got. All right, here we go. Now we're running. Yeah, I think it's because the implement swung wide because it's articulated when I turned through that originally. I think that looks pretty good. We'll maybe patch up some grass on it again, but I think that's going to work great for the workers. And we're going to just take this part out. This is actually going to add a number of acres to this field, it feels like. This was a big chunk. All right, I've got, I think, one more of these chunks to go right here to my left, and maybe a little bit right there on that curve, and I think we'll be all wrapped up with this job. Let's see. Same as last time. It looks like the creek is all over to my left here, yeah. So I can start getting rid of those trees. Maybe we'll keep the trees nearest to the creek. Something like that. We've got so much land over here that was all tied up on this curve. I love curvy fields, and this field is still going to be really curvy, but I think this is going to be way more farmable. Yeah, that's going to be a good addition to this field. So let me get turned around here, and we'll see if we can knock this one out as well. I'm going to try and clean it up from the other side this time, just to throw myself off, see if we can cause ourselves some problems. And there we go. Nice curves. Nothing that should cause us too many problems with a worker, I don't think. I could probably get just a smidge closer to that, but I might have to take that one other tree out if I did that. I'd rather leave the trees and not cause ourselves any more problems. Like I said, not trying to get too much land here. I'm just trying to make life easy. We're just running all of the brush and stuff down here. Realistically, I'd probably have to get the chainsaw out and clear some of this away, haul it off with the skid steer or something. Unfortunately, not really a option for the brush type stuff in Farm Sim. Be a lot of fun to have a grapple on the front of the Bobcat and clean all the brush and stuff out of the way. We used to do a ton of that when I was on the farm. In fact, I feel like I spent a lot of my springs and falls in the edges of the fields trying to make sure we had all the fence lines cleared off, down trees, all kinds of stuff. All right, I'm going to take one last pass over here and see if I can straighten this out. It bubbles out ever so much. And I think smoothing it out would just have a slightly better aesthetic. That looks pretty good. And let's take a look at what we've got over here. Turn my HUD back on. I don't know why that was off. I've got the edge of the creek as it goes around the bend. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to just grab this and bring it right around like this. There we go. That feels like a much more subtle curve. I'm sure there's some permits or regulations on whether or not I'd be able to actually just start plowing up some of this grassland next to the stream, the drainage ditch here, in real life. Luckily, we're in Farm Sim, so I don't have to worry about much of that. And this should finish off the changes that we wanted to make up here to these fields. I don't really have any changes that we needed to make to the lower fields. I think they're pretty good. Maybe the field across the way there. So maybe we'll get this loaded up. We'll jump across the road and take a look at that field. This field is done, though. I like what we've done here. We've separated this back out into field 1 and 51, so I do have 2 separate fields here again. And Courseplay should handle this so much better. Realistically, I could have probably left them connected and it would have done a better job now, but yeah, it's not that much land loss and it's going to make our life so much easier, so we're going to run with that. And I'm looking over here, maybe we want to clean out a little bit in this corner here before we move on. Yeah, I think there's some goodness to be had over here, because that creek is pretty far back here before it comes into play. Let's hop out here and take a look. Yeah, I think that creek comes through right there. And so we've got all of this area that's just kind of a big peninsula. So I'm going to take everything from about here over. And maybe this one too, so I can have a nice gradual curve. Something like that should work out pretty well. I'm just looking in here. Wow, the creek's way back there. Let's grab a couple more. Alright, I don't want to get too crazy with this. I think we're gonna take that. So looking at where the creek turns and the little divot in the field right here, I think actually I want to take it from here over. So I am gonna get a little more aggressive with these trees. We'll take a few more this way and one more this way and use that as our bend reference. Allow create fields. And let's see what we got. Looking good. Straighten it out. Give it a curve. Oh yeah, that opens that up a lot. I like that. Gives me a lot less space that's back here in this little narrow bit. We're still gonna have to come back in here and have a handful of otter rows, but it's not going to be nearly as bad, and hopefully they'll end up being mostly just headland passes. We've been getting back in there pretty good so far, so I'm not too worried about it. And that's going to make this bigger area a lot easier. Some more up-down rows. Good wide areas for getting some bigger equipment in here, because that's really the other goal that we've got. Is now that we've started upscaling some of our equipment, I'd really like to be able to leverage that without a lot of struggles. We've got a nice big drill now. We got this versatile, and I think we're going to be upgrading probably the combine and stuff here pretty soon too, which will be fun times. So similarly then, I guess, well, oh no, we already did this part. Yep. I'm not going to take the rest of that curve out. I think that's a pretty natural curve at this point. Looks good. I'm ready now to fold this up and go across the road. Fun times. So as I get over here, I'm realizing we've still got straw on the ground. I was going to bale all this straw up, and we didn't go out and get a baler picked up yet. Interesting. Well, I don't know if I want to jump into this just yet then. Let's just take a quick look around. We're going to get the drone out. And if I take a look at this field, we've actually got creek running in all of the areas around this field, unlike the other ones. So I wouldn't be able to really smooth that out without having to do a lot of landscaping, which I do not want to do. The areas that we've adjusted so far have just been kind of cleaning up the trash around the field, so to speak. I guess I could probably do this part right here would be the one part that we could do. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that tree while we're thinking of it. We'll bring the equipment out here. If I hit a little bit of straw, it's not the end of the world. We're going to take this one little pocket out. And as we get out here, I realize just how ridiculously different size this equipment is from the field size on this side of the road. I didn't think we were quite this big. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on allow create field. And we're going to just rip this out real quick. I am going to have to get rid of a little bit of that straw, unfortunately, to get everything converted over. The actual cultivator part of this attachment is towards the back half of the work area, so I have to kind of line things up in a way that once the roller hits, or that back run of tines, is where the field is getting created, which means I'm running over all kinds of crops in the front in the meantime, but we've got it figured out here, and honestly, I think that's going to look pretty good. So let me get out of the trees, and I think we're all done with this field now too. I'm looking at the kind of a pointy edge that I left over here, and I think we are gonna just try and clean it up a smidge more around this curve. Just a little bit like so. Give it a nice curve to the out, and that looks so much better. All right, four wheel this time. We're heading back up to the farm. The only farm left, I guess, is the new one that we bought just down the road. We should probably check that out here at some point. I don't know if I want to drive the Delta track all the way over there, though, until we know that we've got some field work to do. We don't have yet the money to buy the other half of the field over here. I want to get the other big chunk of that field, but we don't have the money, and the bank isn't going to give us a big enough loan at this point to go get that field. If we fly out here and take a look at it, really the big thing that I need to do, I think, is just expand the grass in between. We've got the creek that runs all the way around the outside edge of it here. So not really a whole lot of landscaping that we need to do to this field. This field's in really good shape. We just need to expand out the border so that Courseplay doesn't get so upset about things. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. Make sure that I'm actually updating the right field here. Maybe I'll go this wide. I don't know if it's going to let me paint on the other field that I don't own, so we're going to see how this works out. Maybe I'll err towards my field. I think that other strip is likely to get replaced at some point when that field resets its state at the end of the year. I'm trying to go as straight as possible here. I'm not doing the best job of it, but something like that ought to work out pretty well. And we did get hung up on the fence over in this corner a little bit last time, so I'm going to just add a smidge of buffer, I think. All right, I think that looks pretty good. We've got a nice line here, not the straightest line in the world. There's a couple of little jags and bits, but it's not too bad. And if I just get the grass tool out here, maybe I'll add some grass back in so it doesn't look so obnoxiously out of place. Holy buckets, that's costing me thousands of dollars to plant grass here. I don't like that. I'm gonna give myself that money back, folks. I can't believe that's so expensive. It was like $15,000 of grass. Well, folks, I think we've done a great job of cleaning up all of the fields around the farm here. It's going to make our lives a lot easier doing all of the field work out here on these farms. We've got a lot of area back on a couple of these fields. We gave up a little bit of area just to make our lives easier. But I'm digging this. It looks like this is going to be a lot easier for Courseplay to manage, which means we can get a lot more farming done in a reasonable amount of time. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. It was a little bit different today. We didn't do a lot of farming. We did a lot of cleanup around the farm. And we'll be back next time to figure out what we're going to do with this straw. Probably sell off some of our crops over the winter here. And generally just see where things go. That's all for today. Kedrick, out. And for anybody that was curious, because I forgot to show it off, we did come in here and check that field 8, field 1, and field 51 all generate nice, clean looking boundary lines in course play now.